Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to share with you some tips for making your card making more meaningful for you and also for the recipients of your cards. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Christina and I have been making cards for, 16 years. And this has been my profession, both as a designer for the card making industry, creating products to use in your card making, as well as making the cards themselves here at YouTube and also at my online class site, onlinecardclasses.com. That's an educational site that I own with my business partner and one of my very good friends, Jennifer McGuire. So I have a lot to say about card making and how to make it a little bit more meaningful because I've been sending cards for a long, long time. And the sending of those cards and the frequency has ramped up over the last 2 years with the pandemic because I haven't been able to see my friends and my family for so long. So it's been great to send them little messages of friendship and love and just try to connect with people in that way. It makes me think back to the times with pen pals where you sent letters back and forth, things like that. So I have 3 questions for you to ask yourself before you start your card making and crafting session. And the way you answer these questions will help you have a little bit more connection and meaning while you're creating. And then I've got some ideas and some fun little tips for things you can do to make that card even more special when you send it in the mail. So let's get into the 3 questions right now. The first question that you're going to ask yourself before you even sit down, before you get out those crafting supplies, you're going to ask yourself, does anyone that I know need a card right now? Is there anyone that needs to hear from me or needs to hear from someone who cares about them? Because there are a lot of different instances for sending cards. It doesn't have to just be birthdays. It doesn't have to just be sympathy. It could be for anyone who's struggling or having a hard time, or maybe they just graduated or started a new job. There are so many occasions that people need cards for. So think of it that way. I find because I make so many cards throughout the month and even just every week that sometimes the making it for a specific person can get lost in the shuffle of everything. So if you've been making cards for a really long time, ask yourself that question, who needs a card right now? And then you can make that card making session more special and meaningful for you by making your card specifically for one person or 2 or 3 people. I think just asking this question of myself helps me to check in with myself and kind of ground myself back in the purpose of making cards. It can be a personal self-expression, but in the end, that card is made to be given away. So if you think about who you're going to be giving it to, I find that it makes things a little bit more meaningful. My second question that I want you guys to ask yourself is very closely related to the first one, which is, who is going to need a card in the near future? And this is where you're going to get into birthdays and graduations and babies and life events, things like that, things that you can anticipate that are going to be coming in the near future. So we're coming into spring. Think of holidays or different types of cards that would be coming up. So we've got Valentine's Day and Easter, and then soon followed by Mother's Day if you're in the United States, and Father's Day going into that. So you can really start to think ahead. And then before you start crafting, you can, ask yourself, okay, who is going to need a card in the near future? Not so much who needs it immediately, that was question 1, but who's going to need a card soon? And you can kind of work toward that. I like to ask this myself about once a month. I haven't lately sent a lot of birthday cards because I got distracted by the holidays, but I like to keep a list of people that I send birthday cards to and try to just look at that list periodically and make sure I'm hitting those. I'm not perfect, but I do try to get quite a few birthday cards out per year. Those are my most sent cards, I would say. Okay, so now you have your card recipient or recipients in mind. This third question is going to help guide you while you're making those cards. And you're going to think about the person you're sending it to and ask yourself a few different questions. What are their favorites and what do they like? I specifically like to ask, do they have a favorite color? Do they have, different TV shows or movies that they really, really like? Do they collect things? If they have a profession that's very specific, like if they're a nurse or maybe they're in computers, something like that. Some of those questions can help kind of get an idea in my mind what type of card I want to send to that person. I also like to think about maybe inside jokes or different memories that I have with that person. Sometimes that can guide me in what types of imagery to use on my card, or even what types of greetings or sentiments that I use on my card as well. Okay, I said I had 3 questions for you and then some tips and ideas. We are to the tips and ideas, and I've got quite the list for you. And these are all extras that you can include inside your card when you send it to a recipient. This really harkens back to the pen pal thing I was mentioning before, where I remember back in the day with pen pals, you would send postcards and newspaper clippings and just anything you could find that was very flat that you could put inside your letter. So I'm going to take that idea and encourage you to do that with your cards as well. And I have a whole list here. I wrote it down. I've got a whole list here. And the first one that came to mind was you could send pictures. You could print them out, or I even have a little Instax printer that prints images from my phone. It's really, really nice. I'll show it to you on camera here. It's easy. You use the app on your phone and you can send pictures you've taken on your mobile device to the printer. So it looks like that old school Polaroid photo, but it's a photo that you know what it looks like before you actually print it out. So there's no wasting of film or anything like that. Another idea is maybe to print out a recipe that you really love. And you can even reference the recipe that you folded up and put inside in the message you put in your card. You can say something like, "Wish I lived closer to you. This is the exact soup that I would make for you while you're recuperating from your surgery. Since I can't be there, here's the recipe. I love it so much. I hope you enjoy." It could be something as simple as that. If they're sick, you can send them a recipe for soup. If it's their birthday, send them a recipe for a really easy birthday cake or a special treat, something like that. Recipe sharing is an age-old tradition amongst cooks and chefs and just homemakers. So it's a really fun idea to put inside a card. You could also print out maybe some little jokes or things like that. This makes me think of when I was a kid, I think both sets of grandparents actually had subscriptions to Reader's Digest. And Reader's Digest, even to this day, has kind of joke and funny, humorous sections of their magazine. And I loved going to their house and reading all those jokes, and I thought it was super funny. So you could include little jokes like that, or even if you have a magazine or if you want to print something out online, you could print out some little jokes to include, just something fun for them to read. Along those same lines, what about printed puzzles like Sudoku or crossword puzzles or word searches, things like that? There are so many resources online where you can get a free puzzle to print out. You could print out those and include it in the card as well. That's great for people who are recovering or ill and they need things to occupy their time. That's a really great thing to include. When I'm sending cards to children or even to crafters, I love to include stickers. So when I find really fun stickers when I'm out and about shopping or even online, I will just order a couple pack of stickers or just 1 or 2, or around Christmas time. This is great for those to and from gift tag stickers. And I will just slide a sheet of that into a card. It's super fun and people really use them. If your card recipient is artistic or a crafter, maybe they're a fellow card maker, what about including some stamped images for them to color? If they love a particular brand of stamps, you could stamp a few things and just send it off to them and let them use that in their own crafting. And along those same lines, if it's for a child or anyone who just loves coloring, you can include a coloring page. You could tear it out of a coloring book or even print them out online, anything like that. Just fold it up, put it in that card, and then it gives them the opportunity to do a bit of artistic coloring. And my last idea for things to slip inside that card is actually a postcard. I buy a lot of postcards and then I forget to send them. And it's always like I'm out and about. Like we visited Glacier National Park in Montana this last September, and I bought postcards to send to some friends, and then I never sent them. So really, I could send them a little card right now. Say, I was just thinking about you, and I actually bought this postcard for you when I visited Glacier National Park. And then just send the postcard, and then they have a picture of where you've been. It doesn't have to be where you've been recently. I mean, if you've been collecting postcards like this for a while, that's a great thing to send. And along those lines, if you collect postage like me, maybe you could send a couple little special postage stamps, you know, inside the card as well, that you love. Just, you know, little postage stamps that you like. I think that could be really fun too. Try to think of anything that you collect or that you really enjoy that is flat like that. So if you love comic strips, just anything like that that you can slip inside. So those are my tips for you on how to make your card making sessions a little bit more meaningful, as well as things to make it fun for the recipient. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you need additional inspiration for your cards and what to say when you send them out, I have a video that I filmed last year. It was a really popular video. You guys loved it. It's going to be up in the corner up here. It's just tips for writing more meaningful messages inside your cards. There is a free PDF download for that video, so make sure you click the link when you watch it. And it just has some good prompts to get your mind going for what to write inside your cards. Thanks so much for watching today. If you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And I hope you'll stick around and see some more card making and tips for all of your crafting in general. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.